Right, welcome to the Reach Out podcast. This is episode number 3 and we're joined by Pete Kennaugh. Just before we start talking about Pete's life, Pete's career and what he's doing now, we will just drop in the crisis team number. Obviously, Reach It isn't a crisis team, so if you are in crisis or you know anyone that's in crisis, please use this number. It's 642-860. If you want to get in contact with us, you can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our numbers are all on there as well. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, let's go on with the podcast. Pete,
yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, thanks for having me. Firstly, I'd just like to say I think it's great what you and Erica are doing and what you've set up with Reach. I think it's obviously blowing up a lot in the last couple of years. Mental health and everything around it, and people's view on it, and the way people are coming forward and opening up and speaking. But it is really important, and it's something that hasn't really been at the forefront over here on the Isle of Man. So I think it's great what you're doing, and really happy I can be in here today to talk all things sport, mental health related, and have a good chit chat with you, mate.
Yeah, sweet, thank you. Where do we start? So we can look at your career. This is a long career, to be fair. This is quite a long career. I bet you haven't done this in a long time either.
No.
Spoke from the start.
And I was saying when we walked in, I think the last time I was in Manx Radio was 2012. So it's been a while, but it's good to be back here. I think it's a long career, but a short one. For me, it feels long because cycling is all I ever did.
Yeah.
You know, everyone sort of grew up through school, had a relatively normal childhood, but for me, it was always about cycling. You know, most of my mates were always playing football or going out on the weekend, and I'd be away racing and stuff. And even though my career as a professional is probably only from 20 to 30, so 10 years, obviously after recently retiring, it feels like a good 20 years. So I've been pretty serious since I was young, and but I think that's what it took. You know, I think I had the enthusiasm there my whole life, and only recently, for different reasons, I've decided to sort of take a step back from the sport and fancy some new challenges. But obviously did quite a bit in 10 years, so don't have too many regrets. Yeah,
but to be fair, you're saying 10 years as a pro, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you look back, you must have started when you were like, what, 9, 10, 8?
Yeah, even younger, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was riding a mountain bike and BMX around 5, and then because my parents both cycled, and so did my grandparents, and my dad represented the Isle of Man for the Commonwealth Games, and I think they were always reluctant for me to buy me a road bike. They never wanted me to get too serious, and I don't know why. But maybe they just knew the cost that was involved of taking me away on the boat every weekend to race. But finally they gave in and got me a road bike, and it was from then, really, from about 10 years old, I started racing down at Dot Tilbury's NSC League.
I thought she's still there, isn't she?
She's still going, yeah, still going strong, longer than me. So I started there, and then after that, it feels like just a natural progression to turning pro, but there was obviously loads more involved.
Yeah.
But it kind of just happened, and I always get a lot of questions like, you know, is cycling, is it something that you always wanted to do? Did you always think you'd turn pro? And I kind of answer the question with, I was never sat in school thinking I was going to be a professional cyclist. It was always a dream. Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't think about anything else. I wasn't sat there thinking, oh, I'm going to do this for a job, or this interests me. I was always just thinking about, I want to finish school as soon as possible so I can just ride my bike, basically. So I think subconsciously it was always there, but without me realise. I never quite had the confidence, because I looked up to these professional cyclists, and like anyone does with sport, if you're into football and you watch the football and you read the magazines. I mean, these days everyone's got social media, so they don't read many magazines, but you know, you see your heroes in the magazines, and it's like, oh, there's no way, it looks so glamorous, which I'll point out it isn't. But you just think, oh, there's no way I can ever be one of them, and then all of a sudden you are. So
yeah, wow, yeah. I mean, I read an article. I think it was it Adam Blythe? I think he wrote about it, and he said, look, it isn't glamorous at all. You're away from your family so much.
Yeah, and I think that's what changes. I think there's been quite a few retirements this year. Sort of everyone around like our sort of age group, sort of born 89, 88. And I think it's when you're younger and you have all that enthusiasm and there's nothing else going on in your life, it's okay. You know, if you come back from a race and you think you've got 2 weeks at home, and then the team ring you up and say, oh, you've got to pack your bags, someone's been injured, you've got to go to this race tomorrow, and the next minute you're back in the airport going to some rubbish race in France that no one's heard of before.
Yeah.
Then you get there and it's pouring down with rain, and you're just like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? So there's the glitz and glamour of the big races, the Tour de France, the World Championships, the Olympics. But then cycling's such a demanding sport in terms of there's just races on all year round.
Yeah.
So yeah, then like we were talking about before, once you sort of have more of a family life and stuff like that, it becomes even more demanding on your life in general, you know. And then you start to, for me anyway, you start to think, am I enjoying it as much? Like, you're missing the kids, you're missing your family, and then it's just you just got to weigh it up at the end of the day. What's more important?
Yeah.
And for me, it was a really hard decision to stop because I'd really struggled for probably about 4 or 5 years. I'd have this period in the season from February, March through till May where I just did not want to be a cyclist, from like 2014 every year.
Wow.
And Lauren would be like, you know, okay, if you still feel like this next year, then maybe you should just stop, because it's not all about just being a cyclist. You know, there's more important things. If you're not happy, then what's the point in doing it?
Yeah.
But then I'd always get through this period, and then I'd finish the season really well.
Yeah,
then
I noticed that.
Yeah, every year, and I don't know what it is. And then it would be the off season, so it'd be October, and you'd have a month off, so you could enjoy yourself. Then you'd have Christmas, sort of relaxed training, obviously spending time with your family. But then it would all start again. And then in the end, this year, it just, the same thing happened in February, and it all just became, well, apparent and too much that maybe I need to just either take a break or take a step back and do something else. So it was a hard decision, because it wasn't like I hated it all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think it was the right one.
Yeah, you seem really happy.
Yeah, I feel better. It's been like a lot of adjustment.
Yeah.
Because your whole life you've always judged yourself and sort of what's the word, like
you've been on like a pedestal.
Yeah, and it's like
time.
you see yourself as a cyclist and nothing else.
Yeah.
So everything you do in life is based on how good your training session was or how good you were in a race.
Yeah.
And then nothing else really matters. And then once you stop cycling, you're no longer a cyclist. You maybe don't think you have nothing to go. You know, you just peak then. But for normal people or people who know you or your wife or your friends, you've always just been peak.
Yeah.
But for you, once that identity's taken away, it's like, oh God, who am I? What am I supposed to do? You know?
Yeah, that's a massive point.
It's something that you don't think of when you're cycling, but then when you stop, it's probably taken me. I'd say I'm still struggling with it now.
Just working out what you want to do,
what I want to do, and like who I am as a person. And even last month when a race was on in Italy where I was second in last year, you know, I just felt really down that day because I was there on the podium after the race against world champions and Tour de France winners, and then I was at the co-op, you know, buying a loaf of bread and a pint of milk, and I was just like, what's going on here? But that's just me, you know, that's just my thought process, but it's not right or wrong, but that's just, I guess what I'm getting at is the adjustment into normal society and how you perceive yourself as a person. And it's not all about, you need to look at your own morals and who you are and actually judge yourself off that rather than being a decent cyclist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly. I think Paul Jones said it on the first podcast what he did. He was a pro footy player.
Okay.
And he was quite like you. He did it from when he was a kid and he didn't think of anything else. He just went for it. And he said once that career was taken away, like he didn't get the pro contract he wanted, he was like, well, what am I? Like, if I'm not a footballer, then what am I? Because that's all I've ever been.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, he does this thing at the NSC with, I think Varley does it as well.
Okay,
like the MSR thing.
Yeah. And
they teach kids that are going into pro ranks, whatever it may be, football, cycling, and they teach them how to deal with exactly that, to teach you that, no, you are Pete.
Yeah.
Your cyclist comes second. Like, you're a cyclist, but predominantly you are Pete.
Yeah. And
like you say, your values, your core values, your morals.
I think it's just
all
the awareness.
Massive.
The awareness of it, isn't it?
But I suppose you never got taught that. You were just you were a kid and you got thrown into the
exactly.
The big stuff.
I think it's like just doing this podcast today, stuff like this. It's just becoming more and more apparent, isn't it? And people are more aware of obviously mental health side of things, especially with sport. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm envious of just people who who just seem quite grounded and they just
like a normal family kind of life.
Yeah, just a normal environment. But then it's like you don't know what's going on in their lives, you know what I mean? So you always think, oh, the grass is greener, or they're doing all right, but you never know, do you? So it's
you don't.
You're always quite, when it comes to that kind of thing, you're quite self-centered, and you think it's all hard on you. But actually, if you flip it around, the opportunities I've had, the career I've had, it's been amazing. Do you know what I mean? So at the same time, it's like I'd never not do that. Do you know? So it's it's an interesting topic, and I can only be grateful for like the opportunities I've had and how I've been able to experience that kind of sporting world as well. So it's just now it's probably the hardest time to adjust being a dad and being at home, and also as a professional sportsman, you're never at home. So when then you go from traveling and living out of a suitcase for maybe 200 days a year to just being at home all the time, and you're like, wow. So it's realize, oh my God, how much work Lauren does for the kids, and it's like I took that for granted. Then 2, it's being around your wife and kids all the time because you're not used to it.
Hard work.
It's hard work.
Yeah, of course it is.
You know, you're used to like having it. Yeah, it's like, and most people go. A lot of people obviously work, so they have that 5 hours a day. Where they're kind of separated and they conversate with adults and stuff. But what I realised when I came back was, because obviously Lauren didn't work when I was a cyclist, so because of the kids, so she could be at home with the kids and stuff and travel with me, etc. But the fact that you're just with the kids all day, and that's hard as well, you know.
They're lunatics as well, aren't they?
Mad. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard work, isn't it?
Absolutely mental. So it's been really sort of, what's the word? Not insightful, but it's been
a lesson.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Yeah, and
I think that happens when people go to uni and stuff, and they do this long-term relationship type thing. Like you get to miss the person so much that when you come back and you have that week, it's the best week of your life.
It's amazing,
and then you get to go again, and you get to miss them again. But then when you're around people, especially on the Isle of Man, with it being a small place, when you're around people all the time, it's hard to adjust to.
It is, yeah.
And I never thought about that from your point of view.
Yeah, so just basically integrating myself into
normal life,
normal family environment again was another challenge. But thankfully, the kids and Lauren included have managed to put up with me for the last 7 months, because I've been a bit of a nightmare. But
I know
we're getting there.
I know Grayson's really happy to be back. Full time.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Just because obviously when you went away and stuff, he was like, "Oh, Pete's away."
Yeah.
Like it was a lot.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? But now you're back. It seems like he's got that nice family life within the house, which is great.
Yeah. So for the listeners who don't know, maybe who me and Adam are, or what our connection is, I'll go on. I'll let you tell them.
Well, we're dad and stepdad. I'm my little boy Grayson. Pete is Grayson's stepdad. So we have a nice relationship.
So I met Lauren when Grayson was 2. When Grayson was 2. So what's that been now? 7 years.
Yeah.
Now, so but it's
so he's growing up with 2 dads.
Yeah.
But he loves it. Like he's fully aware of it, and it's great
because it's good that they're aware of it. And
exactly.
It's nice because obviously me and Lauren always say it, and we're so lucky that we have a relationship that works. With you as well, because there's a lot of families that don't. Who have been separated, and I think it's great, and it's so important for the kids as well, and even like my kids, like Axel. Like the other night when we had you down for dinner, and he was like, "What did he say? Oh, that was nice having Grayson's dad around for dinner."
Lauren said to me the other day that he said something like, "When do I get another dad?
When do I get 2 dads?" So it's quite funny at the same time, but
he absolutely loved that. Grayson, when we got home, he absolutely loved it, because obviously we got in the car from Saturday, and you mentioned going to the Mona Lisa, and I just batted it off thinking, it was just a joke, and then I thought, why don't we actually go to the Mona Lisa? I mentioned it to Grayson, he was like, let's do it, and then he said, why don't you come round ours? You don't come in our house, so why don't you come round and have dinner? He absolutely loved that. It was so good to see how much he enjoyed it. We can definitely do more around that anyway. But that was really insightful, that part about growing yourself back, or throwing yourself back into a community, especially
normal
a small
society,
community
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going into like London where you can just sort of hide a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming into an island where everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, you have to
Everyone judges
see people a lot, and
yeah, exactly.
yeah, so it's
God, I even seen you doing the garden the other day.
I know, that's a
Clean up.
rarity. I planned it so you were coming up the drive when I was doing it. But no, it's an interesting one, and I did some work with Zwift, which is basically a virtual reality indoor turbo trainer that you put your bike on. Did that at the World Championships in Harrogate the other month now, and obviously after stopping and stuff, and you know, I mentioned a bit about my mental health, but that was kind of in the environment. It was they set the bikes up in a brewery, so you know, everyone, a lot of people there were like on the drink and stuff, and everyone was asking me. I probably had it 10-15 times a day, like, oh, what are you going to do now? You're coming back to cycling? Or I had people coming up to me who wanted to talk about their mental health, but I found it really interesting because I was like, it's not a catch-22, but it's kind of like, I want to speak about it and I want to help other people, but at the same time, when I'm working, and I just want to be another normal person working, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting topic of how you talk about it in the right sort of environment. Then also, people who have suffered in the past, it's not something that needs to be there all the time. You know, you want to be known as Pete who's just doing well. You know what I mean? So it's I find that interesting as well.
I think that's another thing with the Ironman though. You have to take it with a pinch of salt over here, don't you?
Yeah, true.
I mean, I struggled with it. That's why when I posted it, I thought, right, what do I do now? Because when I posted my story, I was like, does that mean I have to walk through town and like everyone's going to look at me?
Yeah.
Like you're just going to be in the centre of attention. But I haven't found that. Like it's been incredible. Like the support that's been shown.
Liberating in some way. If it's something you've been suffering
with
for a while, and then you finally get it off your chest and you feel almost, I would say, free from it, maybe. Yeah.
Do you know what actually that sticks in my mind that helped me a lot was, you know, remember when we were in juries?
Oh yeah.
And Grayson was getting his hair cut, and we were literally just chatting about you know what we were going to do next, what you were going to do.
Juries, no plug intended.
Oh yes, yeah, there is other barbers around as well. Yeah, that really stuck in my mind because that really helped to be able to speak and to realise that, you know, you cycling on a world level.
Yeah.
And you were able to help me just by talking a little bit. And
I
thought that's incredible what it can do, and hopefully this kind of thing, like podcasts with people who, you know, have been pros, that kind of thing, or run businesses.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Exactly, it doesn't matter who you are. It affects everyone, or it will affect everyone
at some point
in their life.
And also, interestingly, it affects everyone differently, and everyone suffers in a different way and with different reasons. So it's
it's not just one.
It's not just one fits all. And I think it's just about like what we talked about in juries. It's kind of, I was just saying it's normal.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel, you know, bad or down or embarrassed that I had kind of like I had struggles in life. Just like having a cold, or you get the flu for 2 weeks and you can't get out of bed. You know, you can't get out of bed. Oh, you've got the flu. Oh, that's okay then. But you can't get out of bed because you're depressed. That's not okay. Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be like that. It should just be, well, how can we fix that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what we've got to make. You just got to be more normal, basically. You know, it's like, so what? Like if you're struggling, it's not a big deal. I think you need to just think, and people who are struggling to come to terms with the fact that they're struggling, I think it'll help if you just try and, I don't know, make it in your own mind feel like it is more normal, and everyone else around you, even though people post the perfect life on Instagram and go out and seem happy, everyone's got their own struggles going on behind closed doors. And I think the longer you leave it without talking about it or without seeing anyone, it's just going to get worse and worse, and it'll build up to a point where, you know, you really are in a bad place. But I think, I still remember the first time I went to see a psychiatrist over here was 2017, I think, and I was in an airport and I had some thinking time. I was on my way to a race, and I was like, I'm just not happy with how I am at the moment. And I emailed someone over here, and then went to see a psychiatrist over here and had a few sessions. And then since then, I've like worked with a psychologist as well. And for me, sending that email for the first time, it felt like such a big deal, because I felt like I'm am I really like damaged? Am I not? Have I lost it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And I came back from my first session and I felt so much better straight away.
Yeah.
I felt more positive. I felt just being able to talk to someone in an unbiased environment who can talk about what you're going through and offer you help and also make it feel like it's okay. It helped loads. And now for me, going to see a psychologist is just like doing a training session. It's just part of life, you know. It's normal.
That's great though.
Yeah.
Like, and they help massively. They really do help massively, and that's probably what we lack a little bit of over here, especially with like the NHS, is being able to, you know, go and see somebody like that.
Yeah, and I think I was at the time I was lucky enough that I could go private.
Yeah.
So I could get in within a couple of days. But like you say, if you can't do that, and it's not much use, is it, if it's a 6-month waiting list?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's definitely something that's got to be looked at. But like we said at the start of the show, I think what you guys are doing with this charity and just
I mean, hopefully that it's about breaking the first boundary just to get people to, like you, send that first email.
Exactly.
And by doing this kind of thing, people listening to these podcasts, you know, realizing that all these different people are talking about, everyone has mental health, whether it's good or bad, or in the middle.
Yeah.
So people actually talking about it, and they're then thinking, do you know what? Maybe I need to send that first email because I might feel a little bit broken.
Exactly, yeah. And also, like, me and you sat here now, we've both had problems in the past, but also we're both really happy now.
Yeah, really
Doesn't
happy.
mean
you
haven't got a label on your head forever.
Well, exactly.
So I think, but
That's
we've obviously taken the first steps to, you know, to working on the issues and the problems we had.
Working on yourself.
On yourself, yeah. And just taking time for yourself.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about that day, the gold medal.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk. I've never spoke to you about this.
No.
This is huge. Like, there's not many Olympic gold medalists in the world.
No.
Did you not break the world record twice in 2 days? I think you broke it on the Thursday, or was it on the Wednesday, and then you got gold on the.
I should know all this. I think we broke it in qualifying.
Yeah.
And then broke
it
our
again.
own record in the final. Yeah. But it was strange. I feel like I was quite young at the time, 23, and I just didn't make the most out of anything. You know, I was like, it kind of was what it was. I don't know. Cycling's a strange
another race.
Cycling's a strange sport, yeah, because it's with cycling, the Olympics is just another race, you know, because you have so many other races throughout the year and stuff like that. Where I think with other sports, track and field, for instance, you have like maybe 3 or 4 big competitions throughout the year.
Yeah.
Then the Olympics is the pinnacle, or like rowing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was like, it was like I was quite pessimistic actually when I was there. You know, I was like, oh, look at everyone, look how much they're loving it being here and all this. And I don't know if that was just like my weird mentality at the time. And then I didn't go to the opening ceremony. No, I did the race, won the gold. That was obviously amazing. And then the next day just flew home. Yeah, it was mad. But it was nice coming home though.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures
had an
and
amazing reception when I landed here.
Yeah.
I did a quick interview up here with Tim Glover, and then that was pretty much it. Flew to Ibiza the next day.
So what do you
and
think?
then I was racing in the Tour of Denmark a week later.
Was it? So it was that fast? It just went that fast?
Back to work, yeah. It's crazy.
Do you think it was... So were you... When you were on the track and the Olympics were there, were you thinking more of the lines of, right, this is sort of the last time I'll be on a track now, I'm going to move up to go on the road fully?
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Like, because how can you not?
I know.
How can that not be like the most stressful time of your life? Like,
I know, because like I feel when I look back now, I feel like it was literally a different person racing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like me and him are 2 different people. Mad.
Oh,
I can't even comprehend doing what I did there now. And yeah, that was me doing it.
Yeah.
8 years ago or whatever. But I remember, like, you know, turning up to the track for the final and the atmosphere. I always remember the atmosphere. It was like electric,
unbelievable, wasn't it?
But I was just like full of excitement. I was just like, right, let's do this.
Did you think you were going to do it? We
knew we could do it. It was just whether you because obviously you know you've got you can do the time, but you don't know whether, like, the only sort of thing in the back of your mind is, you know, are my legs going to turn up on that night? and be able to do what they can do. Or you're in a team of 4 as well, so you're obviously relying on each other. But yeah, everything went well. Felt good, and it flew by. Yeah, and then before we knew it, we were in a nightclub that night celebrating. So it was epic, and it was a good journey to go on with the lads. We won the World Championships.
Yeah, I seen that.
When was that? In February or March before, same year, in Australia, and beat the Aussies in the final by like tenths of a second as well. So that was good, and our rivalry with the Aussies was really good because for the 4 years leading up to it, they beat us in everything, and then that was the first time we beat them in the Olympic build-up in the World Championships. Yeah, so that was kind of like the turning point then, and also for the World Championships in Australia, we had like basic skin suits on, basic helmets. And we knew we had all this like special kit for the Olympics just in the locker ready to use.
Oh, right, okay.
Which would just gain us like seconds, where the Aussies had their full Olympic kit on.
So they didn't know that you were going to pull on this new kit and stuff?
Maybe not, no. But it was, so beating them there with all our sort of like just basic equipment was, good for the morale.
Yeah. Sort of give you that fire to go and beat them in the Olympics.
Exactly, yeah.
It was in London, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's home as well, man. It's a perfect place to do it.
Yeah, so so I was lucky with that it was the one medal that I managed to win was the home Olympics. So that's cool. But
just that one medal.
Yeah.
Like you just said it. Like, you're just saying it like it's just.
I know.
It's just that medal. Like it's an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
You can never take that away now.
No.
So like, no matter what you go on to be, whether it. By the way, you did well doing the ITV presenting, but whether it be like presenting, whether it be triathlons, whether it just being a dad, like you have a gold medal.
Yeah.
That is insane to say that.
Yeah.
And I don't think people over here maybe appreciate it enough because, we do have quite a lot of good cyclists over here.
Yeah, you're right.
But you've got, look at like Cav, like, look at what he's done in the Tour de France.
Hasn't won a gold medal yet, by the way.
No, he hasn't. But he's come close though, to be fair.
He has.
But yeah, he look at what he does in the Tour de France, and then you've got your gold, and then you've got Mark Christian that they're going through.
Mm-hmm. I think cycling is taken for granted a bit over here, but yeah, I think it's quite a modest sport as well, cycling. So
very individual, I think.
Yeah, it is actually.
Like you have to be. It must be quite lonely. Like obviously, like you were saying, being away and stuff. But you've got obviously, so you're an Olympic gold medalist. You've won the World Championships. You're national road race champion 14 and 15?
15 and 16.
Is it 15, 16? See, even that though, like, that's incredible. Commonwealth Games silver.
Yeah, that was cool. I like doing that for the Isle of Man.
Yeah, must have been nice.
Was really nice, yeah.
And did you won the stage at is it the
Dauphiné, yeah.
Is it how you pronounce it, Dauphiné?
Yeah.
You done the Tour de France?
Yeah.
What else have you done? You did the Welter, didn't you?
Yeah.
Man, that is some career, that isn't it though?
Yeah, it's been good.
And what's next? Like I know that you're training absolutely loads at the minute.
Yeah.
Always in the sea down Laxey if anyone wants to go and catch him. It's not a dolphin, it's Pete Kennaugh. What's all this for?
Good question. What I'm going to do next?
Yeah.
And that like kind of uncertainty's been there all year, really.
Yeah.
So obviously, you get paid as a cyclist just like any other job. Salary, just money goes in the bank each month, but then you stop in February and then the money stops. So
it soon goes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Readjusting to that. Trying to sort of budget. I kind of said to myself, I'll give myself a year and a half to figure stuff out and try and figure out what I'm going to do for work, what I'm going to do for a job, and then with that time I've kind of been like, I guess, dipping my toe in different stuff and seeing what I like, basically. The presenting stuff was good.
You did well as well, to be fair, for the first time.
It was
like you didn't look out of place or anything like that.
It was the first couple of days were a bit stressy because you just got to get used to so much stuff. It's like so much stuff that you don't realise at home as well. When you're presenting the show and you have, it all depends with cycling. You never quite know how long the stage is going to be in time because it obviously depends on how quick the riders go.
Yeah.
So that'll then decide how long or how much time we have to fill at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can have maybe 1:30, other times you can have 5 minutes. And you have the director in your ear and you have Gary, who's sort of like the host next to me, and he'll ask you a question, and then you have the director in your ear at the same time as you're answering the question, saying, okay, Pete, 15 seconds to a break, and you're trying to answer the question while he's counting down. He's like, okay, 10 seconds. And then you've got to try and almost figure out how to wrap sentences up without sounding stupid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, without just stopping.
Yeah, at home, someone can be like, that was a bit of a rubbish answer.
Yeah.
But then I've got someone counting me down 3, 2, 1, and then they just go to a break.
Man, didn't know that.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There was a lot to learn, and it was great to give me a perspective, get perspective back on the sport as well, because I think for the last couple of years because I wasn't, so happy. I was quite cynical about everything.
Yeah.
And like I'd finish a stage of the Tour de France and I'd just be like, get me back to the bus, get me back to the hotel, just want to be on my own and just lie on my bed.
Yeah.
And then going there for ITV was really good because you can see how much,
like from the outside looking in.
Yeah, how big it is and like how much goes into even just producing a show like ITV do for the Tour de France. So that was a great experience. It was tough though, long days, and obviously a lot of it's live, so
yeah, I was thinking
stress
that.
there. You don't want to. And that's the biggest thing I'd say, which was what changed from the first week to the third week. All I was thinking about in the first couple of days was not messing up my answers or not mumbling, it's live.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be doing any of that. So I was just like, right, just give them in my head. I was like, basic answer, just get it done.
Yeah.
And don't, don't mess up. But then by the third week, because I'd spent 3 weeks with Gary and all the other guys and the camera crew and got sort of accustomed and used to the set and how everything worked, then it felt a lot more like me and you sat here. You could just answer your questions naturally. It felt like a chat rather than all this pressure on you from the camera crew and thinking about all the millions of people at home watching. So once I kind of became accustomed to that and felt more natural with that, then felt like I could, do a lot better job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did a bit of that. And then I think for next year, that made me realise that I think I'm too young to stop doing sport, basically. Because a lot of the guys who work on TV, ex-cyclists, they're kind of 40, anywhere between 40 and 60. They've done quite a long career and they're happy with just working and doing that kind of job outside of cycling now.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of felt it was great and everything what we did from a day-to-day basis, but still at the end of the day, I guess it was really soon after my retirement as well, but I felt like something was missing, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And especially being that close to the race as well.
Yeah.
So after stopping in February and ITV asked me to do that job, I was a bit apprehensive. I was like, that's quite soon to be so close to the sport again. And then I think being so close to the sport and seeing because sometimes our set was maybe 100 metres after the finish line. So, like seeing the riders who was you 2 years ago or whatever, seeing them, and I was like, oh, I do miss that feeling a bit. But so now I've decided to try and become a triathlete. So my objective is so triathlon's kind of different to cycling. There's basically, as amateurs, you're all in age group ranges, so like 25 to 30, 30 to 35. And then there's an amateur age group triathlon worlds, which is on at the same time as the pro triathlon worlds. And that's in Kennaugh every year in October in Hawaii. So next year my aim is to qualify for the amateur world championships and go to Kennaugh and do that, with the idea of maybe trying to turn pro the year after. But it's a new sport. I only started swimming in February. Never ran a marathon in my life. Never swam 3.8k in my life, and I've never done them all together. Yeah. So I'm kind of open-minded about it. It's something that I'm going to try and do and train for. But at the same time, I'm not saying I'm going to become this like mad professional triathlete. So and also it's something that I get enjoyment out of. When I stopped in February, there was a big part missing in my life, and I probably didn't do any exercise for about a month. And I was such a slob. I couldn't get out of bed, couldn't motivate myself to do anything. And then there was a local triathlon in May over here, and it was like 2 weeks out from it. And I said to Lauren, shall I just enter it for something to do?
Is this one in Ramsey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did. I entered that, trained for 2 weeks, and as soon as I started training, everything just fell into place then. I was so much more, and this is quite a good point we can get back to with mental health. I was so much more productive in my day-to-day life, so much happier, just from doing an hour's exercise a day. I was on the phone to my agent saying, you know, what work can we find for me to do? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I went from literally being in a bit of like a hole of not really knowing where to go, what to do with my life, or no motivation for really anything, to starting exercising, and then everything else in my life sort of started to fall back into place. So then I was like, and to be fair, my psychologist did say how important exercise is for your mental health. But obviously at that time I was so head in the clouds and down the dumps with stopping that I didn't really, you know, I was just like, whatever, yeah, I know it's important, but I really can't be bothered doing anything right now, you know.
Yeah.
So but then once I started it, I was like, wow, I was just so much more productive, so much happier, trying to look for different sort of work I could do and trying to figure out my life a bit more. And so that's another reason for the triathlon stuff as well, you know. It's like, it's something that I know sort of keeps me, like, maintains my mental health, and helps me day to day just by doing, can be anything, half an hour run to 4 hours on the bike, whatever, but it's really important for me.
It gives you that focus back in your life.
Gives you the focus,
yeah. Because obviously when you left your sport, you were like, what was there to do for that month? There wasn't much to do for that month, was there? So you didn't have that focus. And
also from your whole life, you have a focus every day from your training, and then that goes, and then you have nothing, and then everything else falls apart around it because you haven't got that focus, and you don't even realise that was what you were missing. So, but it's like you see it quite a lot with, you know, you're good mates with Danny Roberts, aren't you? And some of the stuff he's doing, and that
kid's a lunatic.
You know, it's probably, that's the kind of stuff that I think people need. Some people are more extreme with it, aren't they, than others? You know, you see people doing Ironmans left, right and centre. You see people running marathons, and Danny's chose to, what's he going to do? Walk up and down the mountain.
He's either going to walk and run consecutively up from beach level up Snaefell 14 times.
Yeah, that's epic,
so that's the equivalent of Everest.
And what date's that on?
Oh, now you got me. I think it's February.
So we need to get out there and support him, but I reckon you need to get him on the podcast after he's done that.
After he's done it, yeah. Well, ruin him first and then get him on to talk about,
That's
But it's even mentioning Danny there, we had young Jake doing the cycling at the weekend.
Oh yeah, another good point, yeah.
He cycled 300 miles and he did it, I think it was 16 hours 30.
Yeah, on a static turbo trainer.
Oh my God, honestly. I have no idea how he did it. I sat on one of them things for like 10 minutes and I couldn't walk when I got off it.
Yeah, I did an hour.
He did. But, doing some sweating as well, by the way.
I know, it's hot in there. But it's more like the mental capacity to do that. But I don't know in your other podcast if you've talked about Jake much, but he's obviously found something that's, you know, he's doing a lot of stuff now to help raise awareness and raise money. And that's obviously, even just having that little focus is probably helping him loads, you know. He
messaged me yesterday and he said, I said, how you doing? And he was like, I was sore, but I got back on the bike just to get my legs going again.
Oh, yeah.
Fair play to him. But he goes, he mentioned something about trying to climb a mountain. I was like, Jake, you've just literally like climbed a mountain to raise money for charity.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you're exactly right. He is, you know, he's realised now. I think the main thing from that on Saturday for me was, you know, he finished at, what time is it? 9:30. And, you know, he got off the bike and he was like really emotional. Oh. I was quite emotional, to be honest, because I'd realised that it's proved to him that when you put your mind to it, you can really go with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he realised that he could push his mind to that sort of capacity.
No.
Whereas you look at the likes of you and you look at the likes of Danny, you've done it all your lives.
Yeah.
Like, you have pushed yourselves mentally and physically most of your lives. So it's a bit different for Jake. Like, obviously he's always been a cyclist, but he wasn't pro like that, so he wasn't having to do it every single day as a job.
Yeah.
So to be able to push his mind like that on Saturday for 16 and a half hours for stopping for 5 minutes to go to the toilet, like that's incredible.
Yeah, and that'll just give him so much confidence in just general life.
That's what he said to me.
That's all it is, you know.
That's what he said. He said, I think that will help him find himself a little bit.
That's what I mean. I think a lot of people struggle with purpose in life, and I think that's probably a big sort of reason why.
I think that's where I went wrong.
Purpose, yeah. And you've got some people have purpose and then lose it. Some people never have it, and some people realize or figure out how to find it.
Mm.
And I think for you, the charity work you're doing now, I think that's probably gave you so much purpose.
Yeah, big time.
And that just helps everything. Like it's exactly the same with my training. Once you have that purpose, whether it be work or sport or music, whatever it is, once you have that, then everything else around your life is a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah, it was strange because it was once I started to, because obviously you know what I was sort of going through, and the times when I couldn't have Grayson, I was making up excuses not to have Grayson because I didn't want him around. I bailed on Christmas with yous because I just wasn't mentally in the right place. And once I come round and once I started to do the research and started to find different ways to boost myself a little bit, once I'd posted that and the purpose came behind Reach and to be able to, it can actually really help people, I was like, wow, my whole life started to fall back into place. Like you said, I wanted to be around Grayson a lot more. I wanted to go back into, teaching him how to play football, coaching his football. I only went back to play football last week, but I've got that back now. Now I've got the fire back to go and play football. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much all to do with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's incredible how much purpose can just make everything else fall into place.
I feel if you have purpose in your life, that's the main thing, whatever it may be. I think it helps. I'd say probably anxiety is the biggest one. Just relieve it. You know what I mean? You feel like you've got a place, and it's a difficult one at the same time because if you are lost and you are down, it's like it's quite easy to say, "Oh, go and find some purpose," isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, or go out for a walk, get some exercise.
Go and do a run.
It's the last thing you want to do, isn't it?
I remember when we always joke in my family because I've retired in my head or with the family that many times. Because it was every February for 4 years.
Sounds like my brother. So it's literally
retirement 0.1, retirement 1.2, and it's like the fourth time I retired without telling anyone. I've only retired once, by the way, like publicly. But the fourth time I retired to my family, we were in Gran Canaria on a training camp, and I went out, did 5 hours the first day, got there with Ben Swift. Then the next day, I went out and did an hour and didn't feel good, came home. And because it had happened 4 times before at the same time of year, in my head I was like, Pete, it's just a bad day, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just relax, go and have a nice day with the family, try and train again tomorrow. And the next day I did 10 minutes. Bearing in mind, I've had a full winter's training. I've had good results throughout my whole year, like we've said. I had no power, nothing. My legs wouldn't turn the pedals. I did 10 minutes, came back and said, I'm done, I'm retiring. And my mum...
It's the fourth time.
Yeah. My mum and Lauren were just like, okay. And then we went for dinner and they were like, can you just go to the end of the season? And then stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you realise the thought of going to a bike race next week is like the worst thing possible I could ever imagine doing?
Yeah.
But going back to that purpose thing, it's really hard because I couldn't explain to them what's going on in my head because I couldn't explain to myself. And I wanted to be as far away from cycling as I could. Like the thought of being at a bike race or being in a cycling environment was just, even though I was in Australia 2 weeks earlier racing, for some reason it just like that, it's flicking my head and I don't want to do it and I can't do it. It's like physically I can't do it. And then mentally I would get really sort of anxious in the mornings about going out on my bike because like we talked about identity and judging yourself on how you are on the bike. If I put my kit on and can only do half an hour or go out on the local ride with people who work and just do it as a hobby and I can't even keep up with them, my whole day's ruined then. So then I would just I wouldn't put my kit on. Last year I went 7 weeks in March without riding my bike once. Then finally, I had like a close group of friends and stuff, and obviously speaking with a psychiatrist, and there's Tom Doyle who messaged me, and his dad used to be an ex-pro and stuff, and he was like, just give it one more try, mate. If it's just think about your family. He's like, if you don't do it for yourself, just do it for them. And then I went out and the next day I was fine. I don't know why. And then I was 16th in the world last year.
Yeah.
And then it happened again this year in February. So I think, and that's the trouble with mental health, because when you're in it, as a person, you can't see a way out.
Yeah, you can't.
But all you can, I would say the only recipe is to talk to people. Because talking to someone, it might not help at first, but then it will eventually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a complicated one, but it's the only advice I can offer. But I can also, and you'll be able to as well, relate to not being able to talk.
Yeah,
because when you're 100%. In that
100%.
mindset, it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, of course you don't want to. And I think when the doctor said to me, he was like, look, you're struggling with panic disorder, these panic attacks and anxiety, I didn't believe him. And I was like, well, I must be the worst person in the world that's got this, because there's no way anyone else is feeling like me. Like, there is no way no one can. I couldn't go downstairs to get in the car.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't walk across the road to get into my car without, like, holding on to a bottle of water. I was, like, panicking about it. I was like, there's no one else in the world like this. Surely not. So he's either got it wrong, or I need some serious help, like, really fast.
Yeah.
Because, like, no one's taking this seriously enough. But obviously, like, then I started to research and started to speak, and you realise, do you know what? Panic attack's panic attack. It comes and goes. Like, like anxiety. You'll have days where you're really good. Yeah. You'll have other days where you're a bit nervous, and like you had times on the bike that during that 4-year period that you absolutely loved, and you thrived as well. Like, you were doing brilliantly, and then randomly other times that thing in your mind would just take over and it'd shut your whole body down. Yeah. That's one of the things that happens with everyone, I think. When you let it take over your mind, like, the physical feeling that you get is crazy. Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah, I just
like, you've done a winter camp and you still couldn't ride your bike.
Couldn't do half an hour. Physically couldn't pedal.
That's, when you think about it, that's like mind blowing, isn't it?
It's insane. Went from doing 30 hours a week on the bike to not being able to do half an hour because my legs were that heavy that I felt like I had no power to even push on the pedals. Yeah. And then when that's your livelihood and that's the only thing you do for work, then you're in trouble, you know.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
So it can easily spiral. But it's for me, it's going to be interesting to see my relationship with cycling, if that affected how I am in February to March, because
coming up.
Yeah, because I've had that every year for the last 5 years now. Yeah. But I've been a cyclist, and now I feel great. Yeah. But this time last year, I also felt great. Yeah. Okay. So I'm intrigued to see. I'm sure like Lauren isn't, but what I'm going to be like in February. You know, like if everything I've done and the adjustments I made to my life are going to actually make me maybe feel more stable, or maybe because I won't be in such a high pressure environment where I've got to perform and I've got to train on a day-to-day basis, even though I've just openly said I'm going to try and do the Triathlon World Championship. But maybe it was the pressure thing that was the sort of the thing that set it off. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, we'll find out. But
yeah, don't overthink it though. Yeah. Like, don't, when it comes to February, think, oh, I'm meant to feel shit now. Like, I'm meant to.
Then it's in your head. Isn't
it? Don't feel that. Just go with it and see what happens. Exactly. I'm sure you know, this February coming, it'll be a complete different feeling that you have. Obviously, you've done Christmas and stuff. You will have done Christmas with the family. Yeah. You wouldn't have had to have thought, oh, I'm racing in Australia in January. Yeah. Like you were doing. Like, you wouldn't have to think that. That's all not on the agenda.
All kind of taken away. Yeah.
Exactly, and you're not really enjoying Christmas either. No. Because you know you can have a drink every now and again, and then you've got to go and get on your bike the next day in the freezing weather. But I mean, well, you're gonna have to get in the sea at Christmas time, aren't you? To be fair, you're gonna have to get. You're gonna have to train still, aren't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you like. What you like on the bike when you're doing triathlons?
What do you mean?
Do you still have that fire? Like,
yeah, I love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
But that's only obviously like how long are you on the bike for?
Well, hours. So I've done a half Ironman. It's the longest triathlon I've done so far. So that's.
So you're just gonna go for an Ironman?
That's Good shout. That's 90k.
What, on the bike?
Yeah, that was about 2.5 hours. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Full Ironman's 180k, so double the distance basically. That's a long time.
After what? What's a swim?
3.8k, I think.
So it goes swim, cycle, run?
Yeah, and then a marathon at the end.
26.5 miles, is it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
40 something k.
How are you meant to do that when you just blasted your legs on a bike?
I don't know. I'll find out.
You're not went that far yet.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
But at the same
it's
time,
different, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a low pressure environment. It's like I've got nothing to prove. If I'm good at it, I'm good at it.
Yeah.
If I'm not, and I think that's important. I think from stuff I've learned over the last couple of years with dealing with my sort of mental health and stuff, I think stress is a massive factor which can trigger stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's keeping your stress levels low. And for me personally, when I was stressed or when I was struggling with my mental health, the only thing that I could do to get away from my thoughts and to make my mind like not preoccupied was drink.
Yeah.
So I was really drinking quite a lot. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was doing it all the time. I was like self-medicating myself with alcohol. But actually, that's like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, of course.
But for me, it's like it's sociably acceptable. People do it all the time, every day. Yeah. And I was just doing it without realising to self-medicate myself, basically. Yeah. And in the end, you just feel worse from it.
Yeah, of course you do.
So then, but yeah, now I medicate myself with exercise. So.
Yeah, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you've got, like, from the outside looking in, and obviously I might know you a little bit more than other people will, but I feel like you've got like quite an addictive personality.
Yeah.
Like you when you see something there, you don't mess around. Like
no.
So like whether it be triathlons, cycling, or whatever else you're gonna do in your life.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just gonna go full steam at it, aren't you?
Yeah. I think that's common trait in a lot of sports people. Actually, they don't really understand half measures.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why you can get so far. Then that can also be something that can trip you up.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
So
that can have a big impact on like enjoying something and not enjoying it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which you've got to always keep an eye on. So, something I've already thought about with the triathlon thing. I was like, the last thing I want to do is be in the same position I was within the cycling world within triathlon, because that's, for me, that's not moving forward. But then also I think how I have moved forward is realising that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have in the first place, you know what I mean?
So what happens if you go and smash this Coney Island Ironman and you get this fella coming up behind you, tapping you on the shoulder and says, "Look, I've got a nice little sponsorship deal here for you if you go pro."
I'll definitely take it.
Yeah, but then you're in the position where you're
give me the money.
Then you're
got
in a
mortgage, no job.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not ideal, is it?
No.
But I mean, you just don't want to get yourself into that like heightened situation again, do you? Where you have to then, your job is relying on your performance.
Yeah.
As a triathlons are hard, mate. I've never done one, but I've seen a lot of people doing them, and I can't, like I said to you the other day, I can't even do 5k. You killed me walking from your house to watch the fireworks the other day. I can't. Yeah, I can't do 5k. You took Grayson and did a triathlon, a park run.
Oh yeah.
And he did it in what
26 minutes.
26 minutes.
Yeah.
Mate, that scares me because I couldn't do it. I probably couldn't do it in 46.
Nah, you could.
I'm genuinely telling you.
So I've been trying to get Adam down to one of the next park runs.
Can't do it.
Instead of his 9-year-old son can do it, he can do it. So
I might have to run next to you, and you might have to like drag me around a little bit.
Get a little rope or something.
Yeah, literally just get a little rope. But it's different for you. Like you were saying it, didn't you? You were like, it's only 5k though. Come on, you can definitely do that. But you've got a complete different mindset. Like you've got a complete different physical health. Like 5k to you is probably a walk in the park, literally, or like getting on a bike and doing like 90k is doable.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah, put me on a bike and see if I can do 9k. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just different, isn't it? So you have a complete different like sport, like Danny.
Yeah.
Absolute nightmares to be around because
subconscious mentality that you have.
It's like Danny's like, come on, let's go and I'm gonna go and walk Snape Fell today, or I'm gonna go from the sea level. I'm gonna go and walk it just to get a little bit of training in. No, mate, I couldn't think of anything worse. On a Sunday, I'm watching David Attenborough, and that is the end of it.
Great,
isn't it though? Like, no, I absolutely do not want to do that, but
that's what I have to do to like settle me down. So once I've done that in the morning, then I'm like, I'm okay to be around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
if I don't do
something, you've done something.
If I don't do something, I'm a nightmare.
Really?
Like I'll literally like wind up the kids. all day because I'm bored.
They don't need winding up, mate.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
So you winding Lauren up, you mean?
Wind them all up, yeah. Like, I'm just so unsettled. But I think that's just because I've done that my whole life. So
Is that why you're doing the grass the other day?
I don't feel normal. The grass. Was I really doing the grass?
You had the lawnmower out. And
I think I was just testing it out, to be fair.
Oh, wait. What? See if you could go and run with that or something?
No, my dad's bloody had me out buying lawnmowers all day. Where did he take me to? The most manxest place.
Not Riley's.
No. Oh, way manxer than that.
Way manxer?
Name some. It's by...
the farmers market thing?
No. It's got a proper Manx name. It's by...
You're not supposed to plug people on here, by the way.
Yeah, well, this is the second plug we're doing. It's on the quay.
Oh, Sadler's.
Yes. Bobby Sadler's.
Bobby, he is Manx, him, isn't he? How Manx is he? You can't understand a word they're saying, can you?
Oh, I was just in there. I was like, Dad, listen, I just want a lawnmower. I don't need to talk about one for an hour. I just want to cut the grass. You know
to be fair though, they've got some nice lawnmowers up there.
They have, yeah. They're not cheap, like.
Got some sit-on ones as well.
Bobby's making some cash out of the garden business.
They've got guns upstairs as well.
But yeah,
should have gone upstairs. Yeah,
oh my God, would have been
got like pellet guns and that. It'd been fun, wouldn't it?
But yeah, I thought I'd try this lawnmower out and.
Yeah, but do you know what that
used to look cutting the grass like.
Even little things like that, like Yeah,
a bit of a novelty, like.
Yeah, well. Even like little tasks, you probably didn't do much that day, and you're probably thinking, right, I'm not sitting down yet. I've still got something I need to do.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably like that. Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm like, I haven't done anything today, so I'm just gonna keep doing nothing.
I am really bad for like half jobs though.
Yeah.
So like once I realise that cutting the grass is dead boring, I'll just like leave the lawnmower in the middle of the garden and come back in.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Oh, still at the front of your house. Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's to go to the tip.
Oh, right.
You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
I took it out. I was cleaning the garage, and did a few tip runs, and then put this old lawnmower that's broken in the garage, and I was like, well,
I'm gonna get rid of that.
Get rid of that, but it's just been sat outside, instead of being sat in the garage, it's been sat outside the front of the house for a month.
I thought you were gonna put it on eBay or something, try and pay your mortgage.
I know, I need to, yeah.
Oh, I'm joking. So that's what's next. Like triathlon, you go on Coney Island.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a dad of three, so you get to spend loads more time with the kids.
Yeah, that's been good.
That's going to be ace. What else have you got? So you're DJing as well, aren't you? Doing a bit of DJing.
Yeah, so I part own Peggy's, the nightclub over here. Hey?
Another plug. There are other places you can go on a night out.
That's free unintended plugs.
Well, I don't know. I think someone's paying you yet.
No way.
Jamie Lewis giving you money, is he?
Jury slipped me a tenner.
Free haircut.
Exactly. Well, I'd hope so. I haven't had a free haircut yet, Ben, by the way, if you're listening.
Yeah, there you go.
But, so Peggy's, I'm involved in that, and Jeff the Mongoose as well. So yeah, do a bit of DJing there, and it's just when I was still racing, I've been good friends with Jamie Lewis, who sort of runs the place. Met him in Bath and Bottle when he worked there, and just ended up being really close friends. So it's something I just got involved with. Quite like sort of events, and quite like nightclubs, and quite like drinking. So I was like, why not? Yeah,
it all works, doesn't it? But what's going on with the DJing side of it? You focus on that a lot as well.
Not too. I guess for me, DJing's like a hobby.
Yeah.
So I'm really into music, and it's a nice opportunity to be able to just play in a club.
Yeah.
So it's more just like something to entertain me, really. So I've got a few sort of gigs planned over there throughout the winter. Yeah. So that'll be good. And then I think it's having something. I think it's about having interests as well, like different interests. You know what I mean? So the triathlon stuff, instead of like your whole life being involved around that, you've got other stuff you can talk about.
Yeah.
And other stuff to keep you interested, which is Peggy's has been great for that. Although the nightlife it's tough to crack over here, isn't it?
I think they're doing a pretty good job, though.
They're doing all right, yeah. So we're going to try and sort of develop that brand and that club over the next couple of years, which is quite exciting.
I seen it on Saturday night on Instagram and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like so good. Different, like
compared
to what is here.
Yeah, and without giving too much away, I think it's about having an environment where people feel relaxed and it's not uptight. You know,
yeah.
Like you don't want grumpy, moody bouncers on the door, making you feel uncomfortable. You don't want, you just want somewhere you can go and have fun, and it's not massively uptight, and you don't feel judged. It's like, I think Peggy's as a brand is quite sort of
relaxed,
sassy, relaxed. It's like,
it's very sassy.
Be what you want, do what you want.
Yeah.
Come and have fun. The club, it's like, we've done it on a relatively small budget, and it's almost feels like, I think, like a house party rather than being in a nightclub. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, it does, yeah, you're right. It does feel like a house party,
which people like. So
yeah, that's a very good point.
So that'll be good to get involved with that over Christmas.
I feel like the music's different as well compared to anywhere else.
Well, there's no chart music.
Exactly.
You don't hear anything like
so
that.
Like,
that's like the number one rule, you know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Right, so what are you going to do with your CDs when you get up on the DJing, on the decks?
What is this, 1990? DJ Tiesto, like?
Well, Grayson told me that you just press play, but...
play and sync and then just stand there waving your arms in the air.
Nah, some of the music's quality, like the older stuff. It's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, fair play. I hope Peggy's does really well, because it's so fresh for the Isle of Man. You just got to keep it fresh, whereas I think you guys are keeping it fresh, whereas you look at the likes of Paramount, or what was the one further down that was underneath the Best Western? Strand 58, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they kept reopening and then shutting and then reopening. It's like they were changing it all the time.
Yeah.
They just weren't getting anywhere with it.
No.
So hopefully this goes well. Fingers crossed,
yeah.
Anyway. So you've got loads going on, to be fair, mate.
Yeah, quite a bit to keep me occupied.
Yeah.
Like you say, with the family as well. And
Yeah, that'll be
and
massive
the
for you.
real dad feeding him once a week, you know.
Hey, listen, I'll take food anytime at your house, mate. No worries. But yeah,
can't fault the curry for a
yeah. Listen, I'm gonna plug Mona Lisa because you absolutely love the place.
Oh, I'm there every week.
Well, maybe we'll do that next time.
I thought I should have my table reserved in there that much.
I couldn't believe it when you rang up. I couldn't believe it. I thought, do they know who this guy is?
Couldn't get in, could we?
No.
5:30, fully booked at 5:30.
I was like, this guy's Mr. Laxey. Like, do you not know him?
I know. Messaged the owner and everything.
Oh,
said no chance.
No, maybe you should have slipped him a tenner.
I should have, yeah. Well, I do tip all right, you know what I mean. But
apparently not. Apparently not. If they're not getting you in,
they probably just didn't want the kids there. But
yeah, probably.
I think the whole of Laxey was there, wasn't it, before the fireworks?
Yeah, unfortunately.
That was like an episode of The Simpsons or Coronation Street, the fireworks, wasn't it? Literally
strange,
everyone was there with me.
Really strange, man. I couldn't really get my head around it.
It was funny.
Like walking down there and just seeing the whole of Laxey, it was...
Literally.
Whoa. Yeah.
Great. I love Laxey, though.
Yeah, no, I love Laxey as well.
Thanks for plugging the Mona Lisa as well.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sure you'll probably part on that at some point as well. Yeah.
Maybe.
Is that your next venture?
We'll see.
Right, if you've got... I'm going to ask you three tips.
Oh, God.
So, by the way, I haven't prepped you for this. So you're on your feet. Pretend you got the director in here saying you've got 15 seconds or something. But 3 things. If people are struggling and they haven't spoke out, how to help them. How would you help a person that is struggling with their mental health but hasn't spoke out yet? What are the 3 things that you'd say to look at or to help them?
The first thing I would do is some form of exercise every day or every other day. Without fail, that is the first thing you should do.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about saying it's easier said than done, but just get yourself out the door, get out of the house, exercise. And the second thing I would do is go and see a professional.
Yeah.
Whether it be a psychiatrist or a psychologist, because with your friends or your family, there's always a subconscious hidden agenda with either you or with them. So whether it's you not being fully open and only wanting to say things that you want them to hear,
okay,
or them saying things that they think you want to hear.
Yeah, got you.
So it's still good to speak to your family or friends if you're struggling, but I think personally it'll only get you so far.
Yeah. Where
you go and see a professional, they know exactly what they're talking about. They understand the subject more than anyone, and they're unbiased. So they just see you. It's like they just see you as a person, not as Adam Hudgen or Peter Kennaugh.
Yeah.
And they can figure out how to help you, and they ask the right questions. And a lot of time when I've seen psychologists, or they kind of just reframe your question, and you end up answering it yourself just by looking at it in a different way.
Yeah.
It's really clever. But that's the second thing I would do.
What's the third thing? Director saying 15 seconds, so...
I would say go and have a bottle of red wine, but that's not the right thing to do. No, that's what I would do. But that's not the right thing to do.
What about you? What about your diet? We haven't spoken about your diet, really.
Interesting one.
Like, what's your diet?
Interesting.
Has your diet changed a lot since you've stopped cycling and stuff?
Oh, mate.
Like, if you put weight on.
So now you've said that, diet's probably the third thing, because that's key to a lot of things.
I think diet's key, you know.
Yeah.
Like genuinely do. I eat terribly, but like when I try.
Yeah, like you have a Domino's with all the sides and everything, and the thing is with diet, I think, if you eat like that all the time, you'll probably feel sluggish all the time, and you won't even really.
Oh,
realise.
is that why? Is that why I feel like this?
That's why. That's why you don't want to go up the mountain.
Yeah, this is why I can't do 5k.
You won't even realise that you're feeling sluggish, because that's just how you feel. But for me, if I have like a big salty meal, whether it's like a Mona Lisa or a Domino's, and then they wake up the next morning and you have like, it's almost like a food hangover. So I think diet is a big one. My diet personally, since I've stopped, has probably, let's be fair, it's gone downhill, because you go from being a professional athlete getting paid to perform, so you look at everything, you know, and diet's a big part of that. But then for me, it's been really nice to just, oh, you know what, I fancy a pizza tonight, or it's nice to sit down and eat whatever the kids are eating.
Mate, you put some ham and cheese away on Saturday night with that bread.
Oh, I did, yeah. I love Parma ham and Parmesan cheese. But that's not too bad.
No, I know it's not too bad, but you're launching it back, like.
Yeah, that's my fave.
Is it?
Yeah.
Bit of olive oil.
Olive oil.
Notice that as well.
And prosciutto.
I just did the pizza in that you made.
You smashed that.
It's nice to go for a pint as well, isn't it? Like, it was nice on Saturday to just. I don't really go for a pint on Saturday because I have footy, and you probably train a lot, so it's nice to just be like, do you know what? I'm gonna go for a pint. It's just enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah, just one pint.
And you can do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, without having to think, oh God, I've got to do 6 hours on the bike tomorrow.
Well, I'd feel guilty when I woke up that I had a pint or that I had a pizza. I'd be like, But
you just had great family time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like it weighs itself out.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna feel guilty because you've just had a great day with your family.
No.
Whereas if you were still cycling, then you wouldn't have been able to have that great day with your family.
Exactly. Oh no.
In a sense.
Yeah.
So look at it that way. It's
and
so positive.
You'd live on the limit for weeks or even months, and you'd have like a binge day or whatever it may be. You might have like a bottle of wine or a couple of pints and a load of rubbish food, and the next day you'd almost like beat yourself up about it. That's another thing with professional sport. A lot of people are like verging on being anorexic, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going off on
you put a bit of weight on, haven't you?
Here, aren't we?
No, you have put a bit of weight on though.
Oh yeah, I put probably. So when I raced, I was at my lightest 59 kilos in 2013.
I seen a picture. Man, you just like you were so skinny.
Yeah.
Like you don't realise, do you?
No. And now when I did the try over here in September, I was 69. So that's that's 10 kilos. But that was from my very lightest as a cyclist. I'd say now I'm probably 74.
What am I? What's that in stone?
No idea.
74 kilos.
Quite a bit.
Oh, Danny, don't hate me for this, but I think I was like 90. I'm like 13 and a half. Never been over 11 in my life.
Really?
Because obviously the last 2 years I've just let my life go and find its happiness.
Yeah.
That didn't include football because I wasn't happy playing football at the time.
All right.
Stopping all exercise, and I've always tried to put weight on, never been able to do it.
Oh, okay.
Metabolism was so high.
That's like double whammy.
Now I'm sat here at 13 and a half stone, like, geez, I need to start losing weight soon.
Yeah.
Like, I need to start going on park runs.
But yeah, exactly.
ASAP.
Well, it's just about being
happy,
healthy,
isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
It's about balance. I think it's not healthy to be 15 stone and not exercise.
Yeah.
But if you're 13 stone,
I'm getting there, mate.
Yeah, you will be there after Christmas maybe. But if you're 13 stone and exercising, it's fine.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly.
So that can be the third thing: balance and diet.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. It's been a pleasure. It's been a
legend.
It's been great, and I think so many people are going to listen to this and think, "Wow, that's an amazing story," because you've not held back or anything like that, which is spot on. So hopefully, this can really help people. So thanks very much for coming.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for anyone who's been listening.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, we might get Jackie and Pete. They might listen.
Yeah, maybe.
At least we'll have 2.
Do you reckon Lauren will listen? Touch and go, innit?
Bit touch and go, yeah. I wouldn't like to say. I can't have an opinion.
Oh yeah,
it's on you, isn't it?
My wife, innit?
Yeah, I don't exactly want to have an opinion.
Yeah,
she just invited me round for dinner. Do you know what I mean? With you, I don't want to start causing murder.
I'm not going to listen because I hate listening to my own voice.
No, I'm going to send it to you when we get home, just in case you want to rip it out.
Thanks for having us on. Been good to open up a bit and talk. I haven't actually really talked much about the topic at all since I retired, so good starting point and good to do it here on the Isle of Man with Reach. So.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully we can do some more bits in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you to Pete. Just before we finish, obviously, I'll just reiterate again that, you know, we're not a crisis team. Reach, we are there to have that chat. If you know, to break that first boundary, to signpost you into the places that can really help you. Don't be afraid to message us. Even off the back of this, just drop us a message and let us know your feedback. The crisis number is 642-860. So if you are in crisis, or you know you have a family member who's in crisis, please don't hesitate to give them a call. You've also got the Samaritans there at a time of crisis. But yeah, thanks for listening, and let us know your feedback at the end of it. Cheers, guys.